We're getting really creative here.
Yeah, hey everybody. Hey everybody. You can't see us, but we can see you through some grapes that are from a private vineyard called Light at Heart Vineyard. And we're looking at some variety of a white grape that will be harvested for a wine. We're in Central California outside a little town called Grange. Yosemite is about 70 miles away, and we've just been visiting with some very dear friends since Bible school days.
It's a long time ago, huh?
Long time ago.
Yeah.
And just a precious time to rejuvenate after our time down at Hume Lake last week, and time to reflect and think through some of the things, and just catching up with dear friends after having not seen them for a number of years. We were reflecting last year that it was in 2007 that we actually did a little mule train with our friends up to the base of Half Dome, and then my attempt to summit Half Dome. And the story behind that was didn't make it because the cables were so full that day with crazy people that I turned around and came back.
Yeah.
So it was a near ascent of Half Dome. That's what made being down at Buck Rock just a couple days ago such a beautiful redemption of all that, to get up to a height of 8,500 feet. I think Yosemite's Half Dome is about that high. So anyway, we're here, and we're just taking some time to rest and sleep in and drink lots of coffee and restore our souls a little bit after a long week, and
have good conversation with old friends. It's
and
nice.
Talk about the work of Christ in our lives through the good times and the bad, as well as the times where you choose things, and sometimes the Holy Spirit chooses things for us that we didn't plan. So if you'd like a story about that, I'd be happy to chat with you.
I think, some of our experiences this week will turn into really good stories.
Yeah.
For future presentations, R&R, and just sharing with people to encourage them.
Yeah, it's kind of like those places in our hearts that you don't even know are there, that through the work of God's grace, He gets out this big heavy plow and digs into your heart and breaks those things up. And often I talk to people about that issue, but ne'er did I expect that would be something that God would do in my own heart. And I'm still not quite sure, other than I just need to step back and let God kind of talk to me about that very thing. So it's a pretty deep experience, and too much to go here on a video recording, but other than to say, surrender to the process of whatever God's doing in your heart. And I think that's why we wanted to start off with the grapes, is that if you're really in a place to where you're in a difficult place and God's really dealing with you, there's the opportunity before you to be a grape or a marble. If you're a marble and God is crushing you, you're going to shatter. And not that He can't put the pieces back together again, but if you're a grape, then the juice, the fruit will give its, the fruit and the juice will come from the crushing. And the crushing is never easy. And I think that's the place to where, that's where God does His greatest work, is in your heart through the crushing and coming through that, and that He will restore and, I guess, kind of as the word came, repurpose whatever it was about, because God's going to deal with you the way He's going to deal with you. And the way God dealt with me was not my choice. I would not have put myself in that place as I reflect back on that. But, I'm still kind of trying to put together what God is doing that. And it's so easy to rush ahead and really miss what God is trying to say. So I guess my point here as we're talking is, take the opportunity to be a grape and not a marble, because God will typically, if God's going to use you much, He may have to crush you.
And what was your dad used to say about fix-a-fix?
Oh yeah, Dad.
That's appropriate here.
Yeah, it is really quite appropriate. My dad was an only child, lived in eastern Washington on a cattle ranch for a while, and grew up in the backwoods of Klickitat County, and truly a private Ryan, if you've ever seen that movie. Too much of a story to go in there, but Dad had a way with words. He only had an 8th grade education, grew up in the backwoods of Washington during the Depression, went into the military, and he was sitting there one day with a group of very intellectual people at a Bible study, and they were all, you know, PhDs and MIAs and you know, whatever, not MIAs, but EIEIOs, and they're talking about this deep spiritual concept. And as the story goes, you know, how God would use you. And then Dad kind of piped up and said this one-liner, and I think, I'm not sure if you got it someplace else, but I'll attribute it to my dad.
It's in our book,
It's in our book as well, at the very first page of the dedication. But basically it goes like this, is that God will fix a fix to fix you, but if you wiggle out of that fix, He'll fix another one to fix you. And we try to wiggle out of all those fixes as fast as we can, because we don't want our hearts to be exposed. And to be exposed in front of a lot of people is humiliating. But if that's what God has to do for you to get to your heart, to bring healing to some area in your heart so that He can use you the way that He wants to, then rather than run away from the crushing, embrace it. As painful as it might be, as confusing as it might be, don't resist the work of God's love, because no matter whether He crushes you or lifts you up and puts you in a place of grandeur, His love never changes. And for all that being said, it's just a beautiful time to be here with friends, to reflect, to reminisce, to look at these hillsides and just take in God's beauty and grace.
Let me kind of pan around a little bit.
Yeah, pan around a little bit.
So these are the Golden Hills of California.
Golden Hills of California.
Yeah.
Because they don't get much rain here like we get in the Northwest. I'll get out of your way so you can get the view. Was I preaching, or what was I?
I think I'd say preach it. Amen.
What was I doing there?
Now we know why this is called the Golden State. I mean, I can just imagine the days when the cowboys and Indians would be running around here and the frontiers would be setting up camp and stuff here. It's
well,
just,
we're not all that far from a place called Jamestown, which was one of the big gold rush towns during what they would have been the 1840s. And during the 1840s, if you hadn't realized, San Francisco is due west of here.
1849. That's where the 49ers.
The 49ers.
Go Niners.
That's the reason
or
why.
Seahawks.
Yeah, that's the reason why the 49ers were named, was what they were, is because all the gold flowed out of these hills into San Francisco, and you know, millions were lost and gained. You know, by the sweat of people's brows in these hills. Through these different hills, there's also different stone walls that the Chinese slave labor, God bless them, built. And they built these walls out of stone that were just kind of laying around to help corral and fence off property lines and to maintain the sheep. But most of these hills have rattlesnakes, of which I'm looking around right now.
Yeah, I think we better go now.
I think we're okay. But when we first came walk this property off with our friends 10 or 11 years ago, when they bought the property, we actually put on rattlesnake chaps over our clothing, so that if the rattlers did come out, they'd get a big mouthful of heavy-duty canvas instead of our leg.
This is a good thing.
So this is a good thing. So anyway, just a beautiful time. We're headed off to see family the rest of the week and then head home on the 4th of July. What else do you want to say, Brenda?
I just wanted to share this beautiful day with you guys, because it's just, it almost looks like an oil painting all around us. It just looks fake, almost. Yeah. All the oak trees, it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
so.
They have blue sky here.
Oh yeah, blue sky and sunshine.
And sunshine.
We don't get that all the time. No.
Yeah, I've had a lot of coffee, so I could talk quite a while longer.
I think we better sign off.
Anyway, again, we just want to encourage you to continue on in your walk, your day, your love for Christ, your love for your family. And again, if you ain't got the marriage,
You ain't got nothing.
bless you guys all and enjoy your summer. And by the way, if you do light off fireworks this year, make sure you put them in a bucket full of water when you're done.
Yeah, no
Sorry,
fires.
but once an insurance agent, always an insurance agent and a risk manager at heart. I don't want you to burn your house down or some other,
Prized
possession. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I got one last story. So I remember when I was working in a generalized agency years ago, and we get a call in on the 5th of July or right after the holiday, and they report this fire, and they said, in this fire, we have 3 things that happened. I remember this call distinctly. So the people took their fireworks, put them in a paper bag in a garbage can, and stuck them in their garage. Thinking, oh, okay, it's fine. Well, sure enough, a spark goes, the fire ensues, burns a boat that's parked in the garage, burns up a nice car, and then it does pretty extensive damage and smoke damage to the house. And I was a fairly new agent at the time, thinking, oh, how is that going to get covered? So they had boat owners insurance, car insurance, and homeowners insurance. 3 separate deductibles, 3 separate losses, all from one stupid sparkler that they didn't douse. So I'm dousing Brenda now with my spit.
So that's your insurance 101
So that's
tip
your
for the day.
insurance
Are you
class
done
for
yet?
the day.
And you can't have so much coffee
I want
next
some more coffee.
No, then you'll have to look for the bathroom all day. So
Well, yeah, I'm going to probably have to stop 5 times between here and our next stop. So anyways.
All right, we're going to sign off. Are you done? Are you gonna
No,
keep
I'm not.
going?
I got some more stuff. Okay.
All right, blessings. Take care.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.